Our instructions and calculations are for a 50-pound bag of mix being scaled and mixed all at once. Before scaling, we will use a calculation to figure out the desired dough temperature. All shop conditions vary, so this ensures the dough will be the right temperature for proper dough development and rise. Today we are showing Raised Day, which has a DDT of 78 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit. First, take the temperature of the mix. Then, take the temperature of the room. Add these two temperatures to 79, which represents the DDT, and divide by 3. Or large-scale bakeries may add friction factor to the equation. However, for smaller batches or smaller shops, which are using 50 pounds or less, we recommend taking the average of the above temperatures, then minus 35 degrees. This is your water temperature. The next step is to properly scale all ingredients using an accurate scale. Now we'll place ingredients in the bowl. The order ingredients are added into the bowl is important to ensure proper dough hydration and to protect the yeast. First, add water. Then add the mix. Finally, add the yeast. Turn the mixer onto first speed for 1 minute. This will mix the dough slowly, so you don't give yourself a flour shower. On a 3-speed mixer, turn the machine up to 2nd speed. On a 4-speed mixer, turn the machine up to 3rd speed. Develop the dough for 8 to 10 minutes or until you reach window pane. Window pane is a test to check for gluten development. Take a piece of dough and stretch it between your fingertips. If it stretches easily and can be seen through like a window pane, then the dough is ready. If it feels stiff or sticky or doesn't stretch easily, then it needs another minute or 2. Develop the dough, then test the dough again. When finished mixing, temp the dough to make sure you've reached DDT. Remove the developed dough from the mixer and place in a tub to bulk ferment covered. You can also choose to bulk ferment in the bowl or covered on the bench. Bulk ferment for 45 minutes. You will know the dough is fermented long enough when it has doubled in size and fills in when depressed lightly with a fingertip. Next, divide the dough into 6 to 8 pound duffser bundles. Round and let bench covered for approximately 15 minutes, or just until the dough has relaxed enough to roll out comfortably. Now it's time to roll the dough. Lightly dust the bench with flour and roll the dough to 1/3 of an inch thick. A great way to measure this is to check the dough width using a donut stick. If it's the same thickness as the donut stick, it's perfect. Be sure to relax the dough before cutting. The first dough bundle or first cut will be used to cut rings and donut holes. Be sure to cut through the dough completely and be careful handling it for uniform shape and size. Place the rings on a separate donut screen from the holes. Remember, the shape of the donut going onto the screen is the same shape coming out of the fryer. The second dough bundle or cut will be used for long johns and Bismarcks. The dough must be docked before cutting. Place dough on donut screens and set aside the scraps. Take remaining dough scraps and knead into a bundle. Let bench covered for 20 minutes for the dough to relax before rolling again. Now to use the benched scrap dough. Roll the dough on a lightly floured surface to 1/3 of an inch thick, and then relax the dough. For twists, knots, and bear claws, cut the dough into a long john shape. For the twist, roll the long john out to 10 to 12 inches. Roll the dough in opposite directions 2 or 3 times. Bring the ends together, and the dough will twist. For another take on a twist, cut a long john down the middle, keeping it attached at each end. Place one end through the opening, straighten it out, and place on a screen. For knots, use 2 yeast rings that have been docked. Place one over the other and gently pull through. Adjust if necessary, and place the finished knot on a donut screen. For bear claws, lay the long john on its side. Using a bench knife, score one side. When placing it on the donut screen, make a slight U shape with the notches facing outward. For Pershings, once the scrap dough has been rolled into as perfect a rectangle as you can manage, spray with water and sprinkle with cinnamon, leaving a rim around the bottom edge. Spritz the outer rim with water. Roll up the dough towards the rim and pinch to seal. The rolled up dough should be the same diameter as a yeast ring or Bismarck. Slice the dough to desired weight. We suggest about 3 ounces each. For the last of the dough scraps, make fritters. Place 5 pounds of dough scraps on the bench. Top with 1 pound of apple filling or half the filling of a Dawn pouch pack, a healthy shake of cinnamon, and 4 to 5 ounces of all-purpose flour. Using a bench knife, roughly chop the mixture together. Don't over-chop. Large pieces are good. Form a loaf the diameter of a yeast ring or Bismarck and slice to desired weight. We suggest about 3 ounces each. Lightly dust each fritter with flour before placing on the donut screen. For each type of yeast-raised donut, after makeup, place in the proof box for approximately 30 minutes. The proof box should be set between 80 degrees and 100 degrees Fahrenheit with 60 to 80% relative humidity. You will know the donuts have proofed when they are doubled in size and fill in when depressed lightly. Now it's time to fry the donuts. The donut fryer should be attended to before prep starts. First, turn on the hood. Second, turn on the fryer and make sure the fat is at least 2 inches deep. Set the fryer to 375 degrees Fahrenheit and only fry donuts when that temperature has been achieved. Since yeast-raised donuts do not need to be submerged in the donut shortening, the kettle only needs to have a standard amount of fat in it, usually 2 to 2.5 inches of depth. Remove the donuts from the proof box and let floor for 5 to 10 minutes uncovered. This is to dry out the donuts so they won't blister when fried. Then place the fry screen into the cradle and lower slowly into the fryer so that the donuts release and float off the screen. This step is important for the final yeast jump. Fry for 1 minute, then flip using donut sticks, and fry for another minute. Donuts will temp at 200 degrees Fahrenheit internally when fried correctly. Let cool for 15 to 20 seconds, transfer to a glazing screen, and enrobe in donut glaze immediately. To fill donuts, make sure they have cooled completely. Fill donut hopper with filling. Place donuts on nozzles, and fill donuts pulling back gently without overfilling. Roll in donut sugar. Now that all the donuts are finished, it's easy to see the versatility of Dawn Raised Day. For technical resources, including our donut troubleshooting guide and more information, check with your Dawn sales rep.